Karo has been very stressed recently. And if you know anything about Karo, you know the main thing he likes to do when he's stressed is go out and have himself a drive in one of his luxury cars. And as you can see, I've chosen to go with the Lamborghini today. And we're just gonna cruise through the beautiful nighttime French countryside, where hopefully we won't run into anybody or anything or any cars, and we could just have a nice calm drive in blazing speeds in a nice open road. And the reason we need to do this is because Karo has a lot on his plate as he looks to make history by winning back-to-back trebles with different teams. Can Karo achieve this wonderful accomplishment? Only time will tell. And as we head into match week 26 of Ligue 1, PSG face off against Lorient. And Silla passing it to Diop. And Ugo Chukwu on the ball now, passing it to Abbas. And now Bamba on the ball in some space with a cracking shot, a thunder cunt of a goal. Backer turning with the ball, getting the ball to Abbas. Abbas turning and passing to Dieng. Dieng on the ball, having a shot and putting it into the back of the net. And PSG found themselves 2-0 down. And Ugo Chukwu passing it to Abbas. Abbas lobbing it over and getting the ball to Fabio Ronaldo. Lee Kang in, getting an interception and giving the ball to Karo. Karo threading it through to Julian Alvarez, who smashes it into the back of the net and gives PSG a lifeline. Ugo Chukwu passing it to Davies. Garnacho giving it to Karo. Karo with a brilliant pass to Julian Alvarez. Garnacho to Karo. Karo cutting in. Karo playing with the defense, threading it through to Julian Alvarez, who smashes it into the back of the net and gives PSG back in this match. And Karo would pass it to Vitinha in the 84th minute. McAllister finding Adeyemi. Karo on the ball now. Karo assessing his options with a beautiful pass to Vitinha, who smashes it into the back of the net and gives PSG a 3-2 victory, remontada style. And with that 3 points, we find ourselves at the top of Ligue 1 with a total of 66 points, 8 points ahead of second place Lyon. And PSG are doing truly well in Ligue 1, and we have a chance to get another win on the board as we face off against Strasbourg, Alsace. And Vitinha working with Davies. Karo sending it to Julian Alvarez, who threads it through to Lee Kang in, who has a shot but is unable to score. And here's Karo applying defensive pressure. Davies getting it to Karo. Denis Karo on the ball. Karo sending it to Garnacho. Garnacho in space, making his way towards the goal. Garnacho to Karo. Karo having a shot and is unable to score. Bradley sending it to Lee Kang in. Lee Kang in taking the ball, sending it to Karo. And Karo now making his way towards the goal. Denis Karo on the ball. He has options. He passes it to McAllister, who finds Julian Alvarez, who's unable to score. Bradley heading the ball. Karo's there to clean it up. And Omega passing it, but Karo's there with the interception. Adeyemi passing it to Karo. Karo now in open space, sending it to Julian Alvarez. Julian Alvarez passing the ball to Garnacho. Garnacho with the cross. Karo settling it and easing it into the back of the net off the volley. And Denis Karo putting PSG up 1-0 in the 75th minute against Strasbourg Alsace. And Karo's gonna go and high-five the mascot here. The vibes are up, and the 3 points are on the board for PSG. And Paria taking it down the touchline. Paria getting stuffed by Gabriel. Bradley crossing it to Karo. Karo heading it down to McAllister. Denis Karo on the ball, taking a touch. Still on the ball. Karo getting stopped by Mwanga, but finds himself on his feet. And Adeyemi finding Karo. Karo laying it off for Julian Alvarez, who's not going to miss from there as PSG collect another 3 points to keep themselves at the top of Ligue 1 by a total of 10 points. And we only have 7 matches left in Ligue 1, but we must focus on the Coupe de France, where we face off against Marseille in the semi-final. And this match is going to be another intense match in our hunt for the Coupe de France. And here's Karo on the ball, passing it to Garnacho. Garnacho back to Vitinha. Karo now on the ball, inside the box, laying it off for Lee Kang-in, who's unable to convert. Garnacho passing to Julian Alvarez. Karo with a long shot, but is unable to get past the defensive line. But now Karo with another chance, getting past the defense, having a shot, but is unable to score. Luis Henrique, not Enrique, Henrique. Szymanski to Bani, and Bani with a shot, but Bani's unable to score. Bani on the ball. Bani passing it to Kone. Kone to Bani. Bani dancing around, getting past Gabriel. Bani with a chip, and Bani with a tremendous goal. And I'm not even going to sit here and lie to you. That was a beautiful goal scored by Bani. And now we have a match of football on our hands as Bani's just put his team up in the 68th minute. We only have 22 minutes to save our sorry asses in this cup. And here's Karo on the ball, finding Adeyemi. Adeyemi back-heeling it to Garnacho. Garnacho to Alvarez. Adeyemi dancing with the ball, losing the ball. Garnacho now to Karo. Karo losing the ball to Adeyemi. Adeyemi passing to Karo. Absolute chaos. Karo is there to cause more chaos as he's just brought PSG back in this match immediately after they went down. Adeyemi heading the ball, and Karo's on the ball now. Karo bringing the ball back, bringing it around town. McAllister to Vitinha. Karo heading towards goal, smashing it off the post. Adeyemi's there to smash it into the top. Bins in the 87th minute. No extra time, no penalties, just football. And a victory for PSG, which puts them in the final of the Coupe de France, where we will face off against FC Lorient. And now we are thinking about our chances that we have to win a treble. We have a solid 10-point lead in the league. And now we're in the final of the cup. Can we make it to the final of the Champions League? Only time will tell. But first, we have to face off against Metz. And Elliser to Smith. Karo with a brilliant tackle, a hard tackle, a Roy Keane tackle. Garnacho passing it to McAllister, who finds Karo. Karo now getting past one defender. Karo working on another, getting past a second, having a shot and curling it into the back of the net. And PSG taking a 1-0 lead in the 49th minute of the match. And Gabriel's there with the clearance. And Elliser with a shot, but Donnarumma was there to make the save. And Smith taking a touch, taking another, bringing it towards goal, crossing it in, but Gabriel's there to head it away. And Gomez heading it down to Diose, but he's unable to make anything of it. Gabby passing it to Karo. Denis Karo on the ball. Brilliant pass to Bradley. And Julian Alvarez doing well to keep the ball. McAllister cutting back, finding Karo. Karo now with a beautiful lob pass to Julian Alvarez, who smashes it into the top bins and puts PSG up 2-0 in the 85th minute of the match. A wonderful goal by Alvarez, a wonderful pass by yours truly, and PSG playing some Joga Bonito. And Karo with a brilliant interception. Bradley losing the ball to Gomez. Gomez passing it to Elliser. Davies is on the ball, passing it to Skriniar, who finds Karo, and the match comes to an end. PSG collecting another important 3 points in our title race, which keeps us at the top of Ligue 1 by a total of 10 points. 10 points, you heard that correctly. That is 4 matches of football that we need to lose in order for Olympique Lyon to pass us on the table. But we must focus on the quarterfinal of the Champions League, where we will face off against Man City on our way to Lisbon, Portugal, where the final will be held. And as we head into the first match of the quarterfinal, PSG hosting City in the Parc des Princes. And here's Bradley passing it to Karo. Karo with an elastico, getting past the defense, having a shot but is unable to score. And Costa just managing to get it out. McAllister turning, passing it to Vitinha. Karo on the ball. Denis Karo still on the ball. Taking a touch, turning, finding Bradley. Bradley sending it through to Karo. Karo giving it to Julian Alvarez, who has a shot but is unable to score. Echeverri to Foden. Foden to Son. Jadon back to Echeverri. Echeverri sending it to Son, who has a shot but is unable to score. Rodri lobbing it over to Philip Walter Foden, whose pass is misplaced. And Son on the ball, backheeling it to Foden. Foden passing it to Jadon, who sends it back to Foden, and Foden through on goal, having a shot, but it is wide. Donnarumma with a big kick. Alvarez heading it to Karo. Karo sending it to Garnacho. Garnacho back to Karo. Karo through on goal. Karo having a shot, and how did I not score? Even Pep's shocked. And Philip Walter Foden finding Tchouaméni, who gets it to Lacko. Lacko to Jadon. Son on the ball with a shot. Donnarumma with a big save. Rodri to Echeverri. Son on the ball. Son threading it through to Philip Walter Foden, who is unable to score. And Son on the ball, passing it right to Rudiger, who finds Karo, and the match has come to an end. 0-0 the final score, meaning all to play for in Manchester. And taking a look at the other matches across the board, you can see that we have some tough opponents remaining. And as we've shifted our focus back to Ligue 1, where we face off against OGC Nice, Rooney would pass it to Cadamarteri. And Cadamarteri back to Rooney. Rooney laying it off a camera. And McAllister's there with the stop. And Donnarumma with a big kick. Karo heading it to Fabian. And Fabian passing it to McAllister. Alvarez finding Karo. Karo getting past the defender. Heading towards goal, smashing it, having himself a goal. A wonderful goal scored by Karo, putting PSG up 1-0. And Karo lining up for a free kick, having a shot, and it hits off the wall. And Israel is there with the save. And Ilie stopping the ball. Karo on the ball. Karo with some skills. McAllister to Lee Kang in, who finds Karo. Karo finding Alvarez, who has a shot but is unable to score. Here's Karo crossing in the corner in the 57th minute. And how have we not scored that? Vitinha to Karo. Karo sending it through to Garnacho. Garnacho to Alvarez. Alvarez cutting back to Karo. And Karo's unable to score. Lee Kang in with a back heel to Karo. Karo with some skills. Karo absolutely filthy, but is unable to score in the end, as PSG managed to take the 3 points and keep a 12-point lead at the top of the table. Only 5 matches remain in Ligue 1, which means if we win 2 matches, that's it. League done and dusted. And as we shift our focus back to the Champions League quarterfinal, where we have to face off against Man City in the match that decides all. Will PSG move on to the semifinal of the Champions League? Only time will tell. And in the 23rd minute, Karo got past Rodri with ease, but was unable to get past Singo, and Tchouaméni was there to clear it out. Echeverri and Jadon working together. Echeverri sending it to Haaland, who lays it off for Lacko. Lacko passing it to Jadon. Jadon having a shot. Donnarumma was there to make the save. Davies passing the ball. It's Vitinha now. Vitinha has some space. McAllister sending it to Karo, the main man at PSG. Karo getting it to Vitinha. Alvarez to Garnacho. Garnacho to Karo, who times his run perfectly with a beautiful chip. Can you believe it? A spectacular goal, picture perfect goal by Karo, putting PSG up 1-0 on their way to the semifinal of the Champions League. And Jadon
We'll pass it to Philip Walter Foden, who tried to have a shot. Jadon to Foden. Philip Walter Foden to Jadon. Echeverri to Haaland, who lays it off for Rodri, who rips the shot, but is unable to score. Jadon finding Lacko. Lacko on the ball. Lacko to Echeverri. Echeverri sending it through to Lacko. Lacko crossing it over to Philip Walter Foden. Trent and Rodri working together. Echeverri on the ball, threading it through to Jadon. Jadon laying it off for Haaland, who has a shot, but is unable to get past Davies. Echeverri able to get the ball off of Bradley and smash it into the back of the net and bring City back into this match. Rodri passing it to Foden. Foden on the ball. Foden back to Echeverri. Philip Foden taking it down the touchline. Foden cutting back. Passing it to Haaland, who passes it back to Foden. Foden trying to ball. Foden passing it to Tchouaméni, who passed to Echeverri. And Jadon with a shot. Haaland scoring. And can you believe it? In the 82nd minute, City has just put PSG in the mud. And Karo's brought down by Tchouaméni. And that is going to be Tchouaméni sent for an early shower. And can we come back? We have 8 minutes to save our Champions League campaign. Karo on the ball. Karo getting past the defense. Karo through on goal, having a shot, and immediately putting PSG back into this match. Can you believe this man? Lucho certainly can't. And PSG back in the match. And this match is going into extra time. And Man City have a man down. Haaland on the ball. Passing it to Hartman. Hartman laying it off and finding Karo. Denis Karo on the ball. Passing it to Alvarez. Adeyemi to Karo. Karo on the ball, finding Alvarez, Julian Alvarez smashing it top right, bins. Man City in the mud. And look at the PSG team celebrating as we have just managed to move on to the semifinal of the Champions League in tremendous fashion. A wonderful goal by Alvarez will see PSG move on to the semifinal. And let's see what Haaland's got for us. That's what he's got. He's got nothing. And Donnarumma with the easiest save of his life. And just 2 minutes left in the match. Singo finding Rodri. And Foden on the ball. Trying to act like he's going to make a comeback. Rodri getting it past Karo to Jadon. Jadon passing it to Haaland. Erling Haaland getting past Gabriel. Haaland with a shot. And Haaland managing to bring City back into the match with just 15 seconds left. And Haaland just told Karo to stay humble as Man City have come back from the dead courtesy of Erling Haaland. And now we're going to a penalty shootout where Haaland steps up and smashes it off the post. McAllister stepping up and smashing it into the bins. Trent steps up and Donnarumma is unable to save it. Adeyemi stepping up and smashing it into the back of the net. Jadon steps up to the plate and scores his penalty. Julian Alvarez unable to score. He tried to Panenka it. And Philip Walter Foden's unable to score. And here's Vitinha, who smashes it into the back of the net with technique. And now, Rodri, the captain of Man City, stepping up. Can Rodri keep City alive? Rodri manages to keep City alive, which means the spotlight, the pressure, all of it is on one man. One man only, Denis Karo. And you know Karo's gonna take a deep breath. He's gonna pick his spot. He's gonna smash it into the back of the net. And he's gonna put PSG through on their way to the semifinal of the Champions League. And Karo and Monaco on their way to the semifinals where they will face off against Inter. And if you look at the other side of the bracket, Real Madrid will face off against Karo's former team, Arsenal. Will we have a reunion with Arsenal in the final of the Champions League if we make it? First, we gotta get past Inter. And as we look at the Coupe de France, we see that we have made it to the final, where we'll face off against FC Lorient. And in Ligue 1, PSG remain at the top of the table by a total of 12 points and a total of 75 points and a record of 24 wins, 3 draws, and only 2 losses. We have 5 matches left in the league and a 12-point lead at the top of the table, meaning if we win 2 matches, we are champions of France. And that is where we will end today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Turn the bell on so you don't miss the next one. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.